Hey guys, happy Friday. Today's Friday, November 15th, 2019. Oh, we're back playing around with Facebook Live, LinkedIn Live, Social Live, and my friend Javier Font has been very patient. Look at him in that snazzy red jacket on a Friday afternoon. So this is Javier Font. Very excited to have him on the show. He's a great guy and he has a great story, so I'm excited for you guys to hear it. See how that comes up? It's so nice. You can see Francis Garcia's on. Hey guys, big heart, big thumbs up. So welcome. So tell us a little bit about you. Francis says, oh, Francis is a top fan. Look at that.
Hey, how you doing, Francis?
What's up, Francis? Tell us a little bit about you. Give us your background. People like that. They like to know where you came from. They probably also want to know where you got that red jacket later on, so you can share that with us.
All right, for starters, I'm born and raised in Waterbury, Connecticut.
Waterbury, Connecticut? That was not the answer I was expecting.
Yeah, Waterbury, Connecticut, that's my background. I recently moved here in 2009.
What brought you down here?
Real estate.
Okay. Did you do real estate up there? What's up, Angelia? Did you do real estate up in Connecticut?
No.
So what did you do prior to real estate? What was your dream, your goal?
See, my dream always was to make it to the NBA. But,
make it to the NBA. See, I don't know these things. We spend all of our research and development money on beer and things in my cup, so we don't have time to look at that. So you wanted to be in the NBA. I didn't realize that. So you obviously played in high school?
Yeah. I played in high school. I played in middle school. All my life, basketball was huge to me. Even now, basketball means a lot to me. They inspire me. The players inspire me to work hard and to never give up and to work consistently on whatever you decide to do in life.
So what was the change in that dream? So you played in high school and then you said, all right, NBA is not for me, or did you try out? Like what happened where you said, all right, I've got to do something different?
You see, early on I got myself in a lot of debt, bad debt, credit card debt, and when that happened, when I was graduating high school, I had a decision to either go to school and play basketball, or my dad, he had two corner stores, a liquor store, and he offered me a position there, and I ran with it because his mind was to move to Florida and follow his dreams with real estate.
Nice. So wait, you had debt in high school?
Yeah.
How do you? All right, you're definitely younger than me. I had no debt in high school. That was the last time I'm pretty sure I had no debt. So how did you am I allowed to ask how you're, I guess I can ask anything, it's my show.
Yeah.
How did you rack up debt in high school?
You see, I always wanted things before I earned them.
Oh.
And I knew that I needed to work in order to get the things that I wanted, but then when I worked, I still wanted things I couldn't afford. And that's when I was introduced to credit cards and loans, and I got myself in some bad debt early on in my life.
Well, that's a nicer story than I didn't know where we were going with it, because it could have gone south in a big way. All right, so you wanted, like most people your age and younger, there's that immediate thing. You wanted immediate gratification. You wanted the tennis shoes you wanted, or the kicks, is that what you guys call them?
The kicks,
you wanted the kicks that you wanted. You wanted the clothes. You wanted the jewelry. You wanted whatever you wanted when you wanted it, and you didn't want to have to wait for it. It's a fascinating, though, that even at that age, that young age, that you were able to get that kind of credit. Mm-hmm. All right, so what did you do to bail yourself out? You went to work for your dad.
Yeah, I went to work for my dad. He ended up moving to Florida, and I started running his liquor store. And in that liquor store, I ran it since 2005 to 2009, I ran the liquor store. And that's how I started paying off a lot of debt. And but through that liquor store,
So I knew we were kindred spirits because anybody who runs a liquor store is a friend of mine. But that is a lot of work. That's that feels like it's it's a different world than real estate for sure.
Definitely. It was 9 to 9 because I oversaw the business. I ran employees. I dealt with accountants behind the scenes. I dealt with inventory, ordering, customer service. So it was a lot at a young age.
Did that prep you for real estate?
You see, I was introduced to real estate in 2009, late 2009, after we decided to sell the liquor store. So my mindset was always trained on working, either 9 to 5. At that liquor store, I worked 9 to 9 most of the time. So I really didn't have any free time.
All right. So, but then you decide your dad wants to move to Florida, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're here in Florida. What was the why real estate? Your dad had an interest in it too?
Yeah, so I saw that he had a different lifestyle. You know, my lifestyle was always programmed on working, going home, relaxing, having a stable life, paying your bills. But his lifestyle was a lot different. You know, I seen that he would flip homes. He would just pick up rentals, and I would see that his lifestyle was just different. So it attracted me. And in 2009, I moved down. He was my mentor for most of that, and I learned a lot. I picked up a lot, and I picked up a lot of connections, resources, and
because you didn't go to school here, you didn't go to high school here.
No.
So you had to basically learn. That's some of the problem, I think, with when you're starting a business, which is what you are. You're a business owner. You're starting a business. If you don't have the connections, it can be super difficult. And so talk to me about how you were able to do that. Did you obviously had your dad's, but you still had to go out and develop your own.
Yep.
So how did you do that? So a lot of people who watch the show ask later, well, I don't have all those people like Ted, like you have, but you didn't have them either.
You see, in 2009, I was committed. I decided to follow my dreams in real estate because I saw the lifestyle and I wanted to follow his dreams. So I went to school, but during that time, I still had bills coming in. So the first job that gave me an opportunity here was Disney.
Oh, you worked at Disney.
I worked at Disney.
Very cool. What did you do? Tell me you were a character that I want to talk about.
No character. A lot of the times I worked at the kitchen. I worked overnight, 10 to 7, literally, you know, cleaning the areas where we all walk through the parks. And it wasn't easy. So that job there actually pushed me to work harder on real estate, and took me to work out, you know, after hours into real estate.
So you knew you didn't want to do that forever, right? So you knew you wanted to get out and be your own boss, because working for Disney is wonderful, right? It teaches you a lot. There's a lot of opportunity there. You can move around. It definitely, I'm imagining, would not be boring, but you still aren't your own boss. The mouse is your boss. And so you want to get out, you want to do different things. Did you, at that point when you're working for Disney, have you paid off those debts? Are you in a good place?
Not yet.
But you're working on it.
Yeah, I'm working on it.
Okay.
You know, when I moved down in 2009, I moved down with $2,500. $2,500. I moved in with my dad because he gave me an opportunity to live with him and learn the business behind the scenes. But also, you know, I had bills, you know, all those credit card bills, car loans. So I needed to get a job. And when I started working at Disney, that maintained it, and I was able to not only pay some debt, but also with helping my dad with his business. He would pay me, and I would pay some debt off that way.
And so talk about the real estate part. So you get your license.
Yeah, so
right?
I got
so it's all easy, and you're making 100 G a week, right? Is that what happened?
No.
All right, so tell them, because I think a lot of people think it's glamorous. I mean, you're all dressed up nice. Javier looks good. He's young. He's obviously successful. But I think a lot of people don't realize that there's so much blood, sweat, and tears that goes on in the beginning of any business, including real estate. So what was it like for you?
Yeah, so from 2009 to 2011, I worked with my dad. In 2011, I got my license to become a realtor. And I actually started with Self-Fast Realty with Kimberly Frank.
Kimberly Frank. I haven't heard that name in a long time. Wow.
And then I worked with La Rosa, with Joe for about a year. And then I went over to Florida Realty team with Roberto Santiago. And throughout that process, you know, like when you start anything, you just got to put your name out there. The biggest thing in real estate is you have to put your name out there. Literally, you have to be very, very aggressive. There's tons of realtors out there.
There's so many. It's the same on the loan side. I mean, I think it's in any business. You've got all these people out there, and because so many people get into the real estate business and think I'm going to make all that money in the first week, there's a lot of people that are kind of flooding the market. So yeah, you have to be able to separate yourself from the rest of the crowd. So what did you do differently?
So I started working with investors. mainly investors, where I would help them acquire properties and also sell their properties. Most of them were REOs or short sales. A lot of the time I would pick up a lot of deals from my own dad. And that's what turned the light bulb on. I seen that they would fix and flip homes, they would buy them to rent them, and their lifestyle was just something that had really, really attracted me. And I wasn't used to that. And through helping them, I gained a lot of success and a lot of connections, a lot of resources.
So define a lot of success. So tell us what you're now. Tell us where you're currently at.
All right. So currently, I'm the owner and broker owner of Fond Statewide Realty.
So he's a broker owner. So how do you jump from being I knew that part at least. That was a setup question. How do you go from working for another broker, then deciding, all right, I think I know enough to be a broker owner? Because it's completely different, guys, right? It's just like being the head manager of a big company and then being the owner of the company. It's completely different. So you go in, you decide, I want to own my own, I want to have my own. You're a boutique? Would you describe yourself as a boutique?
Yeah, mom and pop.
Mom and pop, right? So how was that transition? Because then everything is on your shoulders. It's not just a team on your shoulders. You're the one paying the rent. You're the one paying the bills. You're the one paying all of the insurances and things like that. So what was that like? And why? Why did you want to do that?
You see, it was always my dad's vision to open a brokerage. But once investments were going great for him, he stopped there. He felt like he didn't need to open a brokerage. But I took it upon myself where in Connecticut, we owned a corner store. It was Fond's Market. Then we opened a liquor store that was Fond's Liquor. And I just felt that I just needed to continue the legacy. I hit the books, and I actually wanted to be my own boss. I wanted to be able to control a lot of the things that I couldn't control in other companies. And also I wanted to be able to do the things that I wasn't receiving. See, when you work with a big brokerage, you don't really have that direct one-on-one with the broker.
Correct.
It's a lot of middleman, and you don't really have the direct information from the person.
Right.
So I wanted to control a lot of that. I wanted to control a lot of the funds that were coming in, and the splits really wasn't working for me. So, and I just felt the need that I was growing a big investor group, like contacts wise, and when you're working with another company, practically all those contacts don't really belong to you.
That's correct.
So I needed to figure out, and a lot of my investors advised me to go ahead and get my brokerage, so they can introduce me to bigger investors, and that's what I did. I hit the books, and
What's interesting about of course it wasn't easy. I mean, it is a lot of work, and I think that's the one thing that people just don't realize. You just don't get a license and all of a sudden you're the most educated, wealthy real estate agent or business owner. Len wants to know, Javi, can you tell us about your real estate portfolio and how did you get there? That was definitely my next question, like it, Len, because here's the deal. When you have, when you're working with investors, you say it now and make it seem like it's an easy thing to get them to trust you. Investors have the money, they usually have the experience to know whether they can trust a real estate broker like Javier or not, and so they have to weed through it. They have to figure it out. How did you accumulate that? How did you get that portfolio of those investors to believe in you?
See, my culture at the office is to build rapport, bring value, over-serve, over-deliver. And you got to become friends and family with people. You can't just sell things. You have to literally know them and understand them and know exactly what they want. You have to learn to listen well, communicate well, and understand the investor language. As far as cap rate, ROI, or any specific.
Those are such foreign terms to me. You do. You have to be able to, because it's a different language than Ted Bogert, the basic homeowner consumer going out and want to buy a new home or sell a home. Investors have a different mindset most of the time. When you talk investors, of course, they usually have a primary home, but they're buying and selling real estate as an investment, ROI. You want to look and see what's going on, especially if you're dealing with capital, any kind of commercial. Real estate is insane too. Cap rate, all that craziness I do not miss at all. but you have to learn it. And then how did you get the knowledge, or how did you get them to trust you? Because you're a trust, you can tell. I mean, you can't make up. That's why I love live, because you can tell Javier is a nice person, a good guy. Mm-hmm. He's a guy you want to be around. He's comfortable. He wants to do the right thing for you. But that, these guys are savvy. These guys and girls are savvy. They don't care about that. They want to know that they know your stuff.
Yeah. So I actually have a second company, which is an investment company, Statewide Home Solutions. And back in 2011, I started wholesaling. And that's actually how I acquired my first real investment, where I bought a property, I locked it up under contract, and then I wholesaled it off.
Explain wholesale for people like me that want a little basic definition. What does that mean?
A wholesale property is simply you grab something at $1 and you wholesale it off for $2. It's you pick it up at a cheap price and you sell it off to an end buyer, an investor, where the investor can still have enough spread where if they go ahead and fix it and flip it, the spread is still there. So it's a win-win-win situation. You see, I was that investor that secured something. My first deal, I believe, was about $68,000, and then I wholesaled it off for $100,000. So after...
Who buys that from you on the wholesale end? Is it another investor?
Another investor.
Yeah,
so another investor picked it up, and after liens and everything, I walked out with my first investment deal of $16,000 after all the liens and everything.
You were happy.
Yeah.
Weren't you happy? Yeah, I could tell. That first deal, when you get that and you see it's still work. Look, he's making it seem right now like it's not a lot of work. There's still a lot of headache and heartache and blood, sweat, and tears that goes into wholesaling, really real estate in general. Mm-hmm. Owning your own business, it doesn't matter. But when you get that first check, and you're like, this is much more than I would have made every 2 weeks for a very long time at a typical 9-to-5 job.
Exactly.
And you're doing it and you love it.
Yeah.
You love it. So then you proved, you could prove that you actually had the wherewithal and the ability to do it. So then you could speak the language that investors are looking for.
And that end buyer, that investor that bought it, he bought it for $100, but the property was worth $150.
Nice.
So, I mean, you could build a lot of trust when you are bringing value to others. You see, if you don't bring others value, and where it's proof, where you can literally see facts, that's where you build, your.
Well, there's a lot of smoke and mirrors in business in general, but certainly in our crazy real estate world that we live in, there's a lot of smoke and mirrors. People overpromise and underdeliver instead of. They overpromise and underdeliver, and that is the worst place you could ever want to be. And that's what Javier was saying. He does the opposite in his office. He's created a culture, especially a relationship with his real estate investors, that they know that they're going to get over delivered. Basically, they're going to get more. They're going to get, no matter what, at a minimum, what you say. And I think that's so important. All right, so you picked sort of the topic of the show. So motivation and inspiration. So we've talked about real estate. We've talked about investing. So if you're not an investor or interested in real estate, you probably want to pull your hair out right now. But talk about motivation and inspiration. Why that? We talked about the episode number. I mean, you're obviously super in touch with the things that are important to you that motivate you and inspire you.
Yes.
So talk about that. Talk about what does, and then how do you bring that to your office? How do you bring that to your culture? How do you implement that in your life?
You see, motivation and inspiration is key to continuing any business. You have to stay motivated and you have to stay inspired. But it's like gasoline. You see, gasoline runs out. If you don't stay around like-minded people, your motivation and inspiration walks out the window. And in this life where you can easily get discouraged with any little thing, and also your surroundings, your friends, family, that can be huge on your success. You see, for me, a lot of my success were after hours, and that's actually my third company, After Hour Success, because you really need
There's a third. I didn't know there was a second company, so surprise. There's a third company, After Hours.
After Hour Success. What you do after hours leads to success.
Okay, so what is that company? What does After Hour Success do?
Well, that's actually where I mentor. My passion is to inspire and motivate others through God's love. You see, when God touched me back in 2011, it changed
What
my
do you
life.
mean? What do you mean by God touched you? Share that if you don't mind.
You see, I was at a dark time when I moved here, where I was studying for real estate. My girlfriend at the time just said some things and left the picture in a way that really wasn't the best way. And it left me in a position where I could either quit, go back to Connecticut and fall back to a regular paying job, or push myself to be the person I knew I could be. You see, we all have dreams, but it all starts by you believing in your dream and you working consistently at it. If you don't work consistently at nothing, you're not going to get results. You see, so you have to work consistently at things and never give up. And at that time, I would have to work at Disney, and after Disney, I stretched myself after hours. That means you got to sleep less. You know, you got to commit a year or two of sleeping less to make sure that your dreams become a reality. And so motivation and inspiration, when I got around my dad, I got around other key investors, and when you start hanging around success, it some way becomes a magnet to you, and you start becoming success. Because when you're around negative people, negative things happen, and negative energy is
How do you keep that out? Like, how people talk about it all the time. I talk about it too. You got to keep the negative energy out. Get rid of the toxic people. Just get rid, cut it. Well, it's easier said than done, right? So you can speak about it. You can talk about it. You can say, all right, I'm not going to hang out with XYZ anymore. But what if XYZ is a family member? Or what if XYZ is a close friend or a business associate? How do you make sure, how do you manage that negativity? How do you keep it out of your office? Because the sense I get from you is you practice it, I believe that,
Mm-hmm.
and then you also are trying to implement that in your office as part of your relationship with your realtors and your relationship with your investors.
You got to constantly analyze your operation. You got to constantly evaluate your surroundings. You see, in Connecticut, I was always around, I was growing up in low poverty, low income. So you're around drug dealers, gamblers, you're around that type of environment. Sure. And you get sucked into whatever environment you're around. So you have to choose wisely on who you hang around with. And sometimes it's family where you just have to limit your time with them. Because if not, you know, energy is very important in life. You know, you can make it in real estate or any other profession, but energy is something that you need to focus on. You see, when we're growing up as kids, we all come to this world with a lot of energy. A lot of times where we want to just play, have fun, we get into our parents' heads, but it all surrounds itself by energy. And as we get older, we come across problems, or we get ourselves into big bills or loans, and all of a sudden our energy shrinks, and now we look overwhelmed and stressed, and we either have to work at a job or a practice and constantly worry about something. But if we take that energy out and we literally work hard on just living your days like it's your last day. You see, average lifespan is 78.7 years of life. I usually average it to 80. You times it by 365 days. We literally have 29,200 days of life, average. Now, you got to minus sleep. You got to minus eat. We all got to shower. I mean, I hope.
You never know, my friend. You never know.
You see, so
you
you have to deduct all that time that you have wasted and realize that our time here is limited. You see, money is going to come and go. Time doesn't. So we need to focus on mastering our
So
time.
what do you do? So one of the things I always share that I do, I wake up and either I try to write it down, but I'm not always good at that. But I immediately go to gratitude. So just trying to keep that positive, because when I wake up in the morning, I probably haven't slept. I'm not so good. I've got to figure out this insomnia thing at one time or another. And so I wake up and I have to purposefully, intentionally say I'm going to start my morning with gratitude. That's just one way for us to start your day off positive. What are some of the tools that you do? Like, do you wake up and go, oh my God, I'm Javier, fun, I'm amazing? Like, what do you do? Is there a pep talk you do? Is there a practice you do? Share some of the stuff with them.
Yeah, so the first thing I do when I wake up, I make my bed. That's just discipline.
You make
habit.
your bed.
Yeah,
that's a new one. I haven't heard that. I like it.
Yeah, that's before when I was a child, I would leave that in the back burner. But then as I grew up, I see that you creating a good discipline. You have to be disciplined with the small things because the small things lead to the big things. So I'm consistently doing that every morning. After I do that, I think, well, before I do that, I give thanks to God. You know, that's the first thing that I do. I thank Him for another day in this life, and I thank Him for all the things that He's blessed me with. You know, I'm beyond blessed. For exactly where I come from, most people don't come out of it. So I'm beyond blessed, and so I give my thanks to Him. I make my bed, and then I go to YouTube and I watch motivational videos, inspirational videos, and instantly I share them. I share them to as many people as possible. Especially to my team at the office, because I want to keep them engaged. I want them to start every day motivated, inspired, because we all are motivated in something, you know, and something happens throughout our days that sucks.
It sucks the life out of you, right? I want to go back to a couple of things you said. So first of all, you're right. You have to, if you start your day positive, you have a better chance of your day ending positive. I mean, that's just basic math, even if you want to get to it. You start on the positive, you're going to end on the positive. That doesn't mean that you don't have it, or I don't have a morning where I wake up and I want to just turn over and not talk to anybody. I'm not feeling grateful for anything. I get moments where, we all do, where we're just not feeling the positive. But you have to be intentional with it, which is what you do. So I give thanks too. That's part of mine as well. And I give thanks, and sometimes I got to strain my brain to think. I got to go, okay, I woke up this morning. We're going to start there. Because it's not always easy. You have bad days, you have bad weeks, you have bad months, you have bad nights, you have stuff on your brain. I mean, seriously, it's our bodies and our always want to go to the negative. That's why I don't turn on the news. Yeah. I refuse to turn on the news. I don't put the news on. The people that start their mornings with the news, I don't care if it's fluff like Good Morning America or whatever it is you watch, there's still going to be something negative on there that's going to pull you from the positive that you're trying to start your day out. Yes. So I love that. But I love that you want to share that, or that you do share that with your team. Because I think waking up in the morning, seeing that your team leader, your person who's kind of driving the boat, is waking up and wanting you to be positive, guess what, guys? It pulls them along. Mm-hmm. Then they're like, all right, well, if Javier can be positive, well, maybe I can be positive today. Or maybe I'm not feeling it, but that video touches them, or that person's speech touches them. And so that's such a powerful thing that you do for them. I'm sure sometimes they're like, seriously, if he sends me one more video, I'm going to scream. Yeah. But that's normal human nature. You just have to get back on the boat. You just have to get back on the horse. All right, so tell us a little bit about your business. So we talked about the investor part. Talk about real estate just a teeny bit, because I get people will message me later and go, you had this really cool guy on and he's really great, and as soon as we liked him, he didn't tell us anything about real estate. My bad, because I'm all about the person, right? So give us your 1, 2, your 10 spot on what you think the market's like right now and where you think it's going.
The market's, it's a seller market. You know, if you currently own a property, sell it, you know, because you just never know what's going to happen in the next 2 years. You know, a lot of information out there is stating that 2021, between March and August, we might see a little hiccup.
What is the hiccup going to be?
Honestly, we don't know. You know, we just don't know. You know, they're stating that we're going to see a little hiccup, but
do you see any reduction in business? Are you still seeing investors that want to come in, that want to buy? You're seeing homes that people want to sell them. I mean, I get a lot of newer, it's weird, I get the spectrum. Brand new realtors or super, super old school, like even older than me, naysayers. Market's terrible, I can't get any business. But the majority of the people say that the market is strong and healthy, and that there's a lot of buying and selling going on, a lot of investing going on. Is that what you're seeing as well?
Yeah, definitely. You see, I'm an investor at heart. You know, I have the brokerage where we help traditional buyers, sellers, renters, landlords. Our main line is helping investors buy and sell, a lot of commercial now. They're always looking for deals. And on the investment side, I'm constantly always looking for rentals. You see, if I can get approved or leverage either a bank or a hard money lender, then there's in any market you could buy.
I love the leverage.
That's you can buy something at 100,000 and put 20% down, 20,000, and if the market does die down, I mean, you still up.
You still got stuff, guys. All right, so I see how fast it goes. All right, so we're going to share all of Javier's contact information, how you can reach out to him, how you can learn more. If you're an investor, don't you want to reach out to Javier? I mean, he's just as wonderful and nice in person as he is. That's why I love Facebook Live, because you can't fake on Facebook Live. So we'll share all of that. Please reach out to him. I mean, I love to bring knowledgeable, passionate people on the show, and that's why I knew when I met you that it had to be. And thanks to Veronica and Len for that one. They both popped on, by the way.
Yeah, thank you guys.
So we like to pay homage. We like to give kudos, thanks to mentors on the show. It's super important. Can you give a shout out to somebody maybe who's mentored you along the way? It could be in your real estate career, it could be early on, could be family, just somebody that you want to give a public shout out to, a thank you for helping you.
I want to give a shout out to my dad. You see, my dad he moved here to Connecticut from Puerto Rico and had about 3 jobs. Then he was able to get a corner store, a liquor store, and he moved here with a dream. He studied his butt off to get his real estate license. He's bilingual, but more on the Spanish side than the English side. I love him to death. And just to see his drive, where he has come from to where he is at now, that really touched me. You know, it touched me to a fact where I believed in him so much that when we sold the liquor store, my mind was to stay at Connecticut, and he influenced me to join him, you know, and to learn from him. And I learned real estate investing through all the books, because he's a seminar and book junkie and
super savvy. He sounds like.
And he took me under his wing and taught me a lot. And throughout this process, I've learned a lot from him. And I'm also transitioning where, not outgrowing him, but as far as just spreading my wings.
Sure.
A lot. But he's been key in my success, with the resources, the connections. And I always tell him this, like, I always thank him for the opportunity, for giving me, because I moved down in 2009. I didn't know where I was at. I went back to Connecticut. And in Connecticut, I really wasn't finding myself. And when I called him that second time to give me an opportunity, he did. So he didn't give up on me. He didn't give up on me, and I always thank him for never giving up on me and giving me a second opportunity. Because sometimes, kids can drive you up the wall. I personally
Yep.
I personally don't have any kids yet.
I love mine, but yeah.
But I'm sure that they do. But he gave me the second opportunity, and I ran with it.
Kudos to Dad. That's
kudos
awesome.
to Dad.
I love that.
And then through this process, I also, when I got influenced to read up on Jim Rohn, he changed my mindset. Jim Rohn, all his books, all his videos. I actually was introduced to Jim Rohn in California. This philosopher that was just, he just thinks different.
Right, he thinks completely different,
yeah,
right?
And that's my tip to everyone out there, man. You have to change your mindset. You can really accomplish anything you want in your life, but you just have to change your mindset. And changing your mindset, it could be changing your surroundings like I did from Connecticut to Florida. It could be hanging around, TED or
God help you.
hanging around.
Ooh, I don't know if I'd wish that on anybody.
Positive success. Success leaves clues. So when you plug in with successful people, you leave all that junk that you don't really need in your mind out, and you become successful. But you got to work hard. You can't be lazy, and you got to commit. So once you commit to whatever you want to do in your life, it could be possible.
Gee, don't you want to hang out with him? He's positive. I love the positivity. And again, you can't fake it. He is just as genuine and caring in person. So you definitely want to look Javier up, reach out to him. I don't care what the need is. I have a feeling he's going to try to help you and direct you in the right direction. You've been fantastic, my friend. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Javier Font on a Friday, November 15th. Thanks so much for being patient. We love you guys. We'll be back next week. Have a beautiful weekend. I think it's going to be cooler tomorrow. That's what I heard. But thanks for being patient with us, and we love you guys. We'll see you soon.
Love you.
Wow.